Hi, friends. We're so glad you're here. The Big Ideas podcast exists to empower the next generation of entrepreneurs. Join us for unscripted conversations while you're at home with your kids or even just driving them around to activities. We hope these short but powerful messages will give you inspiration and encouragement for your next big ideas. Hey friends, welcome back to the show. This is alllll, and we're so excited to have you here on the Big Ideas podcast. So this episode is going to be a little bit different. We're going to start a short little series of just for the moms, and this will kick off that series. So it'll just be me here today and just have some thoughts, really just kind of some answers to questions and conversations I've had with a lot of y'all, even fairly recently, that I thought would be kind of fun to share. So I'm kind of headlining this episode as routine hacks or ways that we kind of get things done and the mindset behind a lot of that. So one of the most common questions I'm asked as an entrepreneurial mom, especially homeschool mom, business owner, work with my husband, all of those things is, how do we get it all done? How do we fit all the things into the 24-hour days and just, just get the things done that are important to us. And so it's not really a super short answer. And so I thought a short episode on some of those mindsets and tips or hacks would be kind of fun. So I would kind of break it down into 3 topics, right? And so the first one I would say would be calendar planning. The second one would be outsourcing. And then the third one would be rest. So let's kind of hit those 3 topics. So starting with calendar planning, it's what it sounds like, calendar planning, but whether you use an electronic calendar or a paper calendar or whatever, something that works for you, I highly recommend it. I personally use a massive paper calendar for my personal calendar. We also have a whiteboard calendar on our refrigerator that is strictly the kids' activities so they can see what's going on. If Andy and I are going out of town or anything like that, that affects them. That's also on that whiteboard calendar. We also have our high maintenance dogs medication routine on that calendar. So it's strictly the calendar that the kids need to see, any appointments, all of their sports and activities, school, co-ops, all of that is on that calendar. So they can see it. That's a monthly calendar at a glance. And then I also have a really large calendar that shows all 12 months of the year. It's called Creatives Calendar. It was actually a gift to me from my bestie, and it's amazing. It's also like a whiteboard glass cover, so you kind of rewrite the dates every year, and it's really cool because it gives you that whole year. So as we're planning vacations or trips or goals, big holidays, of course, those all go on that big 365-day calendar. So I don't know if that sounds like a lot to manage, but it's really not. The calendar that really gets written in the most, obviously, is my personal calendar. I recently have learned a trick of using a pencil instead of a pen in that calendar. For all of y'all who like to keep your calendars looking kind of tidy, I got really tired of crossing things out with a pen and making it look really sloppy. So I use a yellow number 2 pencil in my calendar. And as the kids' practices get shifted or just things on the weekly need to change, even my top priorities need to shift, I like to keep everything written down that I tackle each and every day, including like the homeschool stuff. So as that shifts, I erase it and write it again fresh. And I love to cross things out. I don't know if any of y'all out there can relate. I know I'm not the only one, but I love the feeling of crossing things off and checking them off my list. So definitely start with that, and when I do my calendar, I do a lot, the whole week and at a glance. I kind of take care of my whole week starting out on Sunday night, getting ready for Monday morning. But each and every morning, I actually pray over my calendar for the day, and I just ask God to give me guidance and wisdom to know what my priorities are for that day. So even if it's something that I wrote down, let's say Sunday night, that I thought I needed to do on Wednesday, by the time Wednesday morning comes around, I will still surrender that calendar and that to-do list to God, and just pray over it and just say, Lord, if this is what you want me to do today, just make it clear. If there's something else that needs to come up, just open my eyes. Don't let me get so busy just going through the motions and checking things off the list that I'm not aware of things that come up that are more important. And as all of us moms know, a lot of those might just be side conversations that one of my kids needs to have, or a friend calls and that ends up taking a lot of the afternoon time or something like that. Or if we're homeschooling and there's a subject that just needs a little bit more attention, or we need to pause and come back to it later. Just those little shifts, just being sensitive to those shifts and knowing where I really need to be that day versus what I thought I needed to be, or where I thought I needed to be. And so my constant prayer with my daily calendar and my daily to-do list is that God would multiply my time and give me margin. Multiply and margin. Those are my two big asks, I guess, as a mom. In my prayer time, I just always ask to multiply my time, make it really count, and give me those little margin, the time that really is going to matter long term. So I hope that encourages some of y'all with your calendar planning. But definitely, if you're not calendar planning, I think you're kind of setting yourself up probably to get more frustrated than you need to be. So one of the biggest reasons we love to homeschool and own businesses, which I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate to this, but we love owning our time, right? We love having the flexibility and the openness of our calendars, but that doesn't come without some responsibility to make sure that our time is being spent productively and making the most of each moment, right? I would say we'd all agree that time is our most precious commodity. And so making sure that, yes, while we have big, wide open windows of time to do things, seemingly, I don't really know that that's really a reality, but just making sure that we are making the most of that time. And so, just using those calendars and giving our kids a calendar and sort of a timeline. I've got a couple kids that love a checklist and a couple kids that forget that there was a checklist and they kind of go free will on their to-dos. Just different personalities, and I love that. But also training them to have time management and to prioritize. I think those are life skills that as parents, we are responsible for teaching our children that. And of course, that comes with our example. And so with our personal calendar, if a whiteboard monthly calendar for your family, and maybe even an overall annual calendar helps, I would just definitely recommend it, and so when we have the flexibility and we have the time to do with it what we want, yes, there's a ton of flexibility, but the structure that we put in place and the routines that our kids can count on for that consistency, I think is super, super huge. So that would be what I would have to say about calendar planning. And then, I think this is kind of a hot topic. We've gotten a lot of, I've gotten into a lot of conversations recently with friends about, for lack of better terms, outsourcing, right? Doing the things that I would say are like wash, rinse, repeat, every day, every week. As moms, as parents, we have to take care of, we've got to take care of our home. We've got to buy groceries. We've got to prepare meals, laundry, those things that are just, like I said, wash, rinse, repeat. They're not going away. They are important, but maybe not necessarily you having to be the person to do all of those things. And so, like I said, I'm going to call this part outsourcing. And let me just say, if you are like I used to be, where I just had a ton of mom guilt around, oh my gosh, I can't keep up with the laundry and the home and driving the kids everywhere they need to go every single time. And also pausing and snuggling and, being available early morning and late night for the conversations. And I'm just ragged, And so I carried around this mom guilt of like, I need to be able to do it all, and I need to do it all well every day, every hour. And let me just give you a deep breath and a fresh, maybe freeing perspective on asking for help and not feeling like you need to justify or feel bad about it, and feeling like you shouldn't have to ask for help in these areas. One of my foundational things I stand on is, we can do anything we want in our life. We just can't do everything, and we can't do it all right now. And so, many of y'all know we have a golf cart dealership. We've had it for almost 15 years now. And several years back, it was definitely at a place where it was running without us. We didn't need to be there anymore. We had certainly given many, many, many years, giving all of our time into it. And it was just, we were in a really sweet spot of not needing to be there every time the doors opened to make the business run and be successful. And long story short, God shifted and shook our family a good bit in a good way, and put more big dreams and desires and inspiration, I guess, into us, and also a baby that, definitely changed the shape of our family. And so just about 2 years ago, we started another golf cart manufacturing company, and that's just been another all-encompassing creative energy, physical energy, tons of planning, tons of prioritizing and sacrificing for Andy and I and our kids. And so we had to take a really hard look at what are we spending our time doing, and what is the most productive use of our time. And for us, we were able to say, you know what, somebody else can help us do this. Somebody else can help us do this. And I don't feel bad about it, So a couple of those as examples. I'm being totally transparent with y'all. I get all of my groceries delivered every week, sometimes twice a week if I forgot something, which always happens. I don't know the last time I have gone into Publix or Kroger to do our full week of grocery shopping. And I don't feel bad about it. It's an amazing feeling when you get text messages saying like, hey, they don't have the type of, tortilla wraps you want. Are these okay? And you just click and say, yeah, that's great. And then, a couple hours later, everything's at your front door, and it's amazing. It feels like you bought back a ton of time. And if y'all are like us, we buy a lot of the same things week after week. And so one of those, wash, rinse, repeat items would definitely be getting our groceries delivered. We also have help with our house getting cleaned on a weekly basis. And again, as many of y'all know, I still clean my house. Every day I'm cleaning my house. So it's not like I just walk away and my house is just, whatever it becomes of it. I'm definitely cleaning my kitchen probably multiple times a day for sure. But at the end of the week, I know, I'm not scrubbing the toilets and mopping my floors and doing some of that deeper cleaning that does get done by somebody else. And it is just, we've had that done for many, many years now. And it's a great use of my time because, it's not that you can't find time for it or you won't find time for it, but the question we really need to ask ourselves is, what else could we be doing instead of that? And I don't think it would take that much time or be that hard to answer. There's definitely other more important things I could be doing with that time instead of cleaning my toilets or walking through the grocery store, picking up the same, 50 items that I bought last week that are just going to go right back in my cabinet. I'm going to come right back again next week. I mean, those are, to me, simple decisions, easy decisions to trade that time, get that time back. Even using, I don't want to say using our kids, but, outsourcing some of those day-to-day chores that our kids can help with, taking out the trash, putting the trash cans out by the road, cleaning the cars, putting laundry away, and, doing the dishwasher, things like that, chores that take a lot of time. It's good character and all of that development for them as well too. I'm sure most of your kids are doing chores that help out. So, but, thinking of that in terms of outsourcing some of your time, even some of our homeschool classes and courses I've outsourced at this point. Definitely the higher level maths, my kids are taught by somebody else. And that's not even just because of my time. That's because of my ability. Nobody needs me teaching them upper level math and thinking that that's going to be a good idea. So just always looking though for ways to duplicate yourself so that you can spend time doing the things that only you can do, and letting somebody else who's just as capable of doing that task do it. And you get that time back to do the thing that only you can do. That's most important to you in that moment in this season. And really only you can answer that. I'm not trying to put pressure that, everybody needs to do it exactly how we do it, of course. I've just learned that when I give myself that freedom and allow myself to do the things that only I can do, and those wash, rinse, repeat items are still getting done, it's just a much better place to be, which really does go right into the third item of rest. And before I get into rest too, the last thing I'll say on the outsourcing, if the financial piece of that, obviously outsourcing is not, it typically comes with a cost. If that's a concern, I would say, set a goal. I'm always the first one to say set a goal. We had all of those things on our dream board at a certain time. And it's amazing when you start putting some mental energy and some focus into how can I, instead of just blanket statement, I can't afford that, or I don't want to pay for that. I think the real shift is you can't afford not to. There's things that are really critical for us to be doing right now in this season. And I'm just going to say it. I don't think grocery shopping and laundry and cleaning our home at that level every day. Like I said, I always clean my house, but I think it would be silly to say that our time can't be spent more productively doing something else. So I hope that lands well. I'm certainly not trying to step on toes. Like I said, just giving perspective on some things that have given me some freedom with our schedule and our routine, and keeping the priorities. So yeah, landing the last thing on rest. Like I said, I pray every day over my calendar and over my to-do list. I ask God to give me that margin and to multiply my time. I think that when we get to the end of ourselves, which we always will every day, right? I think as moms, we can all agree we will definitely get to the end of ourselves, of our abilities, of our capacity. We have to have somewhere and someone and a strong foundation that we can land on, and just know, I'll say this again and again, God loves our children more than we love our children, which is just a big, big statement, because goodness, my children are my heart walking around outside my body, right? And God loves and cares for our children even more than we do. And so trusting that, and really trusting that with our actions, and trusting that with our actions in resting, and if y'all have followed me on Instagram, resting to me doesn't just mean taking a nap. Sometimes we do need a nap, but sometimes resting means doing something that energizes and refuels you to continue going, whether that's going for a walk or any sort of like a workout, moving your body, spending time, doing anything that just refreshes you, something creative, something, solo, a quiet car ride, that'll do wonders, right? For our tired mom brain sometimes. But taking rest seriously, and I am preaching to myself right now, because resting does not come easy for me. I typically, for those who know me the best, know that I typically, and I'm going to say in the past, because I do feel like I'm getting better at this, but I would typically wait till I was past the point of needing rest to actually admit that I needed rest. And I would kind of be in that, desperate, chaotic position of needing rest. And so I'm definitely learning to rest before I actually feel like I need rest. And I think that's doing everybody a service to everybody's benefit. And so making that part of your routine, part of your habit of resting. And so include that as you're doing your calendar planning. Think of that as you are thinking about what you can outsource, what's going to bring you true, consistent rest, because we do not need to apologize. We do not need to justify as moms that we need rest. We need to do things that quiet our minds, give our souls and our spirits and our minds and our bodies rest, so that we can continue to show up and provide for our families, serve our families, and even more importantly than that, serve God, serve our great purpose that we're here for. And I'll stand on that mountain all day saying that, because time is too precious. There's too much at stake for our lives and for our children's lives. And I hope this podcast has been encouraging. I'm going to wrap up by just saying, please let me know, comment, send me a text. I love getting y'all's texts. But if it's something that you feel like you can share in the comments of the episode, please do that as well too. But let us know what you're doing for calendar planning, some hacks that are working for you and your family. Let us know other ideas that we can think of for outsourcing, and let us know what are ways that you rest as well too. So I've loved sharing with y'all today. Like I said, this is going to be the first of a few Just for Moms series. And so I'd love to hear some more content that you'd like to hear from, and I can't wait to share with y'all again. So thanks for being here today.